Hey guys, it's Elizabeth here, and today I'm going to be showing you a time lapse of some animation I'm doing for my music video, and talking a bit more about how you can save yourself time when doing frame by frame animation by thinking more like a puppet animator in terms of separating out which parts of your character will and won't be moving. I find that this technique works really well for close-up shots, especially, and shots where the character is like sitting down or their weight and center of gravity isn't moving. So for this shot, it's a very simple shot. The only thing that moves is her hair and her little badge that will appear on her uniform, which I don't animate in this time lapse. I forgot it. I forgot the main focus of the shot and did it later. Because that's how I roll. I'm the most organised ever. So basically what I did was I did my animatic for the timing and storyboarding and everything, and then I just took this frame out of Krita into Clip Studio Paint. I'm animating in Krita for this music video, but Clip Studio Paint is my favourite drawing program. It has a really nice variety of tools. The interface really suits me, and I really like their vector tools especially. It's more like fluid. You can just draw a line. It's nicer line weight and stuff, and then you can just rasterize it and work in raster afterwards. If you don't know what that is, vector, like raster drawings are like made out of pixels. The computer saves the color of each pixel, and where each pixel will be, and vector images are saved as a set of instructions, so they're more scalable, but you can't use them for as many things. Like most web browsers, you have to use raster images for it, for example. Vector graphics are really good for things like games or assets that need to be really scalable, but most of the time raster is fine. But what's good about vector in this case is you can draw a line, and then if it's not quite right, you don't have to redraw it. You can just manipulate it with the vector tools. You can change the width of the line weight, pull the points of the curve around, etc. So yeah, I just quickly drew her body and her her body, her spacesuit, her head, all on one layer. Then I locked the transparency of the layer, which means that when you draw on the layer, the computer saves how transparent or non-transparent or opaque even each pixel is. So when you draw over it, you're just changing the hue, not adding or subtracting anything to the drawing. So it's really useful for here for example, I drew everything in brown because that's the colour of her skin and that's on the bottom, and then I just quickly in the neck of her spacesuit, and then added the orange over the top, and I used another layer to add the white parts of her spacesuit and her eye whites. At the moment, when you're working in white, it's really handy if you can change the layer modes in your of your layer you're drawing in your drawing program. So I like the difference mode. I never use it when I'm drawing in my finished pieces, but it's really handy to just flick everything into negative, so you can see really clearly where everything's going. And it does have the side effect of making her look like a bit of a zombie just now. And yeah, so I'm just quickly blocking in everything with the vector brush for her helmet, and just tidying everything up with the vector eraser and the moving the point of control point tool. That's what it's called. And then because you can't flood fill a vector layer in Clip Studio, I rasterized it afterwards and then flood filled it. So yeah, that just helps me to get like a really nice smooth line around the edge of my shapes, because that's something I really struggle with, is keeping everything like a nice curve, keeping everything neat. Like her helmet there, I'm just fussing with making sure it's as good as I can get it, basically. Because this frame is going to be held for about 8 frames, so 1 second, it's long enough that I wanted to make it look really nice, as nice as I could get it. So I spent about 30 minutes in Clip Studio drawing that, and then I flattened the image, then copied and pasted it into Krita, and then I went back into my Clip Studio document and unflattened it, just in case I needed to edit it later. It's so much of a pain trying to edit a flattened picture, because there's only one layer. So if I was just trying to change the shape of her helmet or something, for example, then it would be really hard to do without messing up everything else. So yeah, then I put it back into Krita, and I'm working on the sketch animation for her hair, which is just going to be like a nice, simple little wave. And yeah, so I put my sketch layer on top of my flats so I can see it even when I've drawn things. And then I'm using the marker tool with the stabilizer on, so I get some nice smooth curves in the lines to just outline it, and then on the same layer just flood fill it, so I just get a pretty crisp area of flat colour for her hair. Yeah, because this style I'm using is pretty much lineless, apart from where areas of the same colour meet. They need a line there just to kind of separate them. Otherwise, like, her arms would always be moulding into the side of her body, for example, and you wouldn't be able to see any detail on her hands. So yeah, just nice and easy. I like the marker tool in Clips. What am I talking about? In Krita, it's not as nice as the marker tool in Fire Alpaca, but Fire Alpaca does have the disadvantage of it's more drawing software than an animating software. So I did use it for a bit, but I just love with Krita you can just flick through the frames with your arrow keys to check it, and it handles sound. It's a much better option, especially when you're starting to do longer animations. So yeah, I finished that, previewed it to make sure it was flowing okay, and then I tried to draw the detail line in her hair. First I tried to draw it freehand, and it was a bit of a disaster, as you'll see in a bit. I locked the transparency of her hair layer and just drew it over the top, a nice little wiggly line in her hair, just a bit more detail. But when I played that back, it was going all over the place. So I went back into my sketch layer and drew a nicer line that had the proper wavy motion of her hair, and then just redid that in my colour layer. So yeah, and that was pretty much my process for this. It was a very simple shot, but I just wanted to show you how you can cut corners wherever possible in your animation. One thing I did want to talk about was that sometimes in animation especially in animation like this where it's very static. Extra movement, like her hair would look odd if it didn't move, because we know how hair works, and it's light, it's very I'm shaking my head from side to side, but you can't see me because this is just a voiceover. It moves a lot, so it would look bad if it didn't move. But her body, in an animation, like areas that move, your eye gets drawn to them instantly. So if you have like kind of almost unnecessary movement, especially in a simple style like this, it really notices, and it can distract people from what you want them to look at. In this case, it's the badge on her chest mainly and her hair. So it's kind of like negative space in a painting almost. You gotta think about what you do and don't want to have moving. So yeah, that's all for today. I'm just gonna put a little loop of the animation here so you can see what I did, and have a good day everyone. See you.